What is the LG G6? The G6 is the phone LG needs. It's not quite as gorgeous as the Samsung Galaxy S8 and it doesn't have the excellent camera of the HTC U11, but LG has finally made a gimmick-free phone that ticks a lot of boxes. There are still some questionable decisions here, notably the use of older components, but the excellent display and reliable camera make it one of the best Android phones around. Key feature. 1. Review price, £649.99. 2. Android 7.0. 3. Very thin bezel. 4. 18:9 Quad HD display. 5. 2x13 megapixel rear cameras. 6. Snapdragon 821, 4GB RAM. LG G6 display. Rather than the typical 16:9 aspect ratio seen on almost every other smartphone, LG has opted for an 18:9 ratio display, basically 2:1, that provides a taller panel in a smaller body. The 5.7-inch display, a sizable increase from the 5.3-inch panel of the G5, sits inside a shell that's barely bigger than its predecessor and one that's noticeably smaller than the 5.5-inch iPhone 7 Plus and Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge. One side effect of cramming a bigger screen into a shell of this size is that the corners of the panel are now rounded, rather than at right angles. It's a little odd at first, but easy to become accustomed to. It matches the overall curviness of the phone, but looks best on the black model. On my white review unit, the black border between the panel and bezel is fairly prominent, and the corner curves aren't perfectly circular. It's a small issue, but once you've noticed it, it's hard to forget. LG G6 design. For the first time I can remember, LG has crafted a phone that looks attractive. The lack of a thick bezel instantly draws the eye, and LG has also ditched that dodgy metal sprayed plastic that caused so much controversy on the G5. There's a slab of Gorilla Glass 5 on the rear. Interestingly, it's only Gorilla Glass 3 on the front, and a metal rim running around the sides, which LG claims adds some much-needed rigidity that's lost with the unorthodox screen. The standby switch, with a fingerprint sensor tucked inside, can still be found on the rear of the handset and the volume rocker is on the side. However, unlike many phones that use capacitive pads, this switch actually depresses and offers decent feedback. Just below the camera is the perfect place for a fingerprint sensor, simply because it's where my finger naturally rests when I pick up a phone. A major concern I have with the Samsung Galaxy S8 is the strange placement of the fingerprint scanner, which sits directly next to the camera sensor. LG G6 performance. In what I can only assume was LG's haste to ship the G6 before Samsung launched the Galaxy S8, the G6 comes with Qualcomm's older Snapdragon 821 chipset rather than the latest 835. There's nothing wrong with the 821, in fact, it powers the fastest Android phone, in daily use, that is, in the Google Pixel. And the G6 is a fast phone, in just about every area. Lag is nowhere to be seen and even high-powered games such as Modern Combat and Asphalt play without a hitch or dropped frame. LG G6 software. LG's UI design is far from the best. It's a little like iOS mashed with Huawei's Mi, with a dash of TouchWiz thrown in. It does have the Google Assistant, though, which seems to be improving all the time. But there's huge improvement in UI over the G5, and a lot of that comes from that switch to a new screen size. LG is playing up that the 18:9 aspect ratio enables you to place two square apps on top of each other, and this makes for much improved multitasking. LG G6 camera. The cameras haven't seen a huge improvement in the G6 over its predecessor, but there have been a few tweaks to the already impressive setup. Just like the G5, the G6 has two sensors sitting next to each on the rear of the device. One is your typical camera with 13 megapixels, optical image stabilization, OIS, f/1.8 aperture, the other has a much wider field of view,